This is the Dawn Diaries. Here I share my insides the same I would in an online diary. Now it's time for your dose of Dawn.
Yesterday was crazy. One of the things that I dreaded the most about having a new therapist was I told my old therapist that I was dreading the fact that I'd have to, politically, I was worried about that because there's so many people out there that hate conspiracy theorists. So it's a huge concern of mine, man. Just the way people, like this lady yesterday was such a bitch to me, man. Such a bitch. Just the way people have been to me lately has just been really over the top. I know as a therapist you have to be really tolerant and stuff like that, but it doesn't change the fact that I feel uncomfortable and I don't want to subject somebody to this. That was my main concern, to be honest, about the whole switching therapists. I think there's been some crazy responses. I don't know, I just hate talking to people who believe the narrative, it's completely pointless, so it's just hard. So well, I was on a podcast this week and I was just basically repeating what I've heard this guru that I follow sometimes. He basically just said it very plainly, whether you're Democrat or whatever the hell you are, right? If you're right or left, or if people in war, they never think they're fighting on the wrong side, right? Everybody always thinks they're in the right. No matter what side you're on, they always think they're the do-gooders, right? So it's that's what's so hard about it. Having conversations don't help because it doesn't change anybody's mind, because everybody's reality is based on their consciousness. The only thing that anyone ever knows is based on them, their own lens. So it's so when someone has an opposing view, basically they can't wrap their head around what makes sense to somebody else, basically. Yeah, the same guy that I'm talking about. Let me read you this thing that he wrote, because it's super offensive. This is a guy that I look up to, right? Because the advice I would give someone, how to help a conspiracy theorist and deal with friends you may have outgrown. That's what he wrote, right? That's the topic of the discussion. And the question was, what advice would you give to friends or someone you know who is absolutely drowning in conspiracy theories? And then the advice I would give, blah, 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 blah. I'll read the part that's offensive. But I don't know where he wrote it, because it's kind of long. Oh, okay, it goes, the fact is, no one who is a subscriber, if I don't know what that means. Oh yeah, if I identify with conspiracy theories, that means I'm someone who is not in control of what I'm experiencing. Other people are in charge of what I'm experiencing. And if those other people somehow were to change their behavior, then I would be just fine. The fact is, no one who is a subscriber to conspiracy theories, certain forms of religion or government would actually be all right if everybody else behaved. There are people who are blah, 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 I don't know that word, in their dependency upon the experiences and opinions of others. They are convinced that others are controlling their experience. So how do we step out of all this fear? Conspiracy theory means fear-based life, a life of fear that somebody else is in charge of what I'm experiencing. I feel that's the most inaccurate take on what a conspiracy theorist is, but that's how people, that's a good summary of what people think of conspiracy theorists. And it's crazy because conspiracy theorists think that about the rest of you guys, thinking that that you guys are the ones trying to control us and thinking that someone else is in charge of your experience, like, because you wouldn't really be concerned of like what we're doing. Like, if we're not ones who wear masks, then that's you trying to control our experience, or thinking someone else is controlling your experience because you think we have contracted the disease or whatever it is, right? So it was super offensive when I read that. I was like, that's so not what a conspiracy theorist is. Even the email alone was to deal with a conspiracy theorist. You don't see us writing emails about how to deal with everybody else. Yeah, it was really difficult. People like to make you look stupid and make you feel stupid, and it's like, I don't know. Yeah, he would kind of argue with me about stuff too. Kinda. But like, he would talk about how the masks do work because medical doctors have used it forever. Why would he say that? Like, why would you volunteer that information as a therapist? Like, for what? You know? Maybe he was just being devil's advocate. I don't know. He said that. But the way I look at it is like they use those masks like if they're operating on people and they don't want drool to like get in somebody's like surgery, like, because like, I don't know, if you're on a massage bed, you're gonna like drool on the floor, so that's why you wear the mask. It has nothing to do with like spreading diseases or anything like that, you know, like, that's my opinion, you know. So no, it's just this crazy thing about double masking now is like insane to me. Like, yeah, it's like he was trying to convince me or something, or just I don't know, play devil's advocate, or I don't know if he'd try to convince himself. I don't really know, to be honest, but I just remember feeling very uncomfortable about all of it. It was like, I'll just go into it because I feel like I don't get into political debates with anybody. Like, it's not conversations are not important to me. I could care less. Like, it's just about my physical boundaries, and if someone wants to bully me, that's when I have a problem. Like, policing bothers me. People policing each other, wear your mask, that bothers me, you know, because I do believe in body autonomy. I think that, like, freedom is very important. Like, there's a quote that I agree with. I forget who says it. Like, if you sacrifice freedom for safety, you deserve neither, you know? So I really believe that. I'm definitely an anarchist. Like, I believe that like freedom should be above everything else. I'm not really a government type of person. So when someone harasses me, like, it just drives me crazy. So yesterday I went skiing, right? Open air, right? And people there are already, as soon as you get there, they're barking at you about the masks, and it's outside. Like, there's like, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the regulations that much to know, like, if the rules have changed about outdoors, but it seems like it has, because people are trying to tell you you can't have your mask, like, off outdoors. So I have a problem with that. But anyways, trying to cooperate. So I cooperated all day, right? And then skiing was over, and then we ended up going to Albertsons. Not Albertsons, but it's called, and here, because in California it's called Albertsons, but here it's called Acme or whatever it's called. We went into one of those grocery stores over there where we were, and got a Starbucks in the store, right? And I'm having like a private conversation with my client in the line at the grocery store as I'm having my coffee, right? So my mask is like on the side because I'm like, you know, like not paying attention. And then the guy that works there, the clerk, like tells me, wear your mask. And I'm like, I'm drinking my coffee. You know, I'm telling him that I'm drinking my coffee. And he's like, well, when you're not drinking your coffee, like, put your mask on, whatever. And then this woman in line butts in. She like says, you're standing too close. And I wasn't standing close at all. Like, I was definitely 6 feet. She's like, you're standing too close. You're standing close. And then, like, it was basically the last straw for me because people had been basically like policing me all day, you know, about the so, and she doesn't work there. Like, so if the guy says it, fine, you know, but she's just a customer. So like, that just drove me crazy because I felt like I was being ganged up on. Me, that was like the last straw. And that lady she was basically asking for it, in my opinion, because she doesn't know who she's dealing with at this point. Like, if she had caught me like in the beginning of the day I would have just taken it with a smile and let it go, right? But like she caught me at the wrong time, honestly, because she had no business. People think, that's the thing that bothers me. People think they have the rights to control you. And like that's so not like how, I don't care if you're scared, like don't control me. Like the government is imposing that behavior onto people thinking it's okay, and I don't find that to be okay. Like I don't think it's cool for you to talk to a complete stranger ordering them around. Like I think that's completely out of line. Like you don't even know me there. You don't own this store. If you're afraid, stay home. To go around telling people how to, like that's completely, to me as a person who puts freedom above everything, it's completely like crossing the boundaries, like big time, right? And I put up with it all the time, but like this lady was definitely just like pissing me off. So I was like, I just responded to her. I was like, I can stand wherever the fuck I want. It's a free country for now. Like that's what I told her, you know? I'm like, people like you like aren't making it easier. I don't know what I said, but I was something like people like you, whatever. And then she went psycho after I said that because I talked back to her, right? So she went all psycho on me, and she's like, she starts getting into like something about how she has underlying health things, whatever. And I'm just like, no one cares. Save it for Oprah. Like, that's like what I said to her, you know? And she was just like, at that point, she was super pissed. Like she went from like pissed to like really pissed. So she starts cussing me out. She calls me like an asshole like 3 times, you know? And I'm just kind of like waiting for her to like freaking just check out already, you know? And then we get through the freaking line, right? We finally get to the line. I go outside and like finally take my mask off and like breathe, like, and I'm like just saying, like, I tell the client like what basically happened, because he was just stunned basically, right, about the whole thing. And I just said, you know, you got to stand up for yourself sometimes, because it wasn't cool what they did, like ganging up on me. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, I'm glad you didn't say anything, like to the client. I'm like, I'm glad you didn't say anything. Because I was trying to, I don't know why I said that to him, because I think he gets all frozen. He doesn't know what to do. So I was like, it's good that you didn't say anything, because it would have been us ganging up on her. And that's like the opposite of what I wanted to happen, because they were both ganging up on me. Like, and it's just not okay for people to fucking think they can talk to you like that. And I was like, maybe she'll walk away from that situation, like knowing next time maybe I won't bully somebody into wearing their stupid mask. Like, that whole controlling thing just drives me crazy. Like, it just drives me freaking crazy. Like, yeah, she started calling me an asshole, selfish, like every name in the book, right? And something about like kind of insinuating how stupid I am. I don't believe doctors. She just went off, right? She went completely off. And like, I didn't say any of that stuff because it's just so much information about how people view conspiracy theories, because she sort of insinuated like people like you make this world the worst place ever, blah blah blah, you know. And I think of them like people like you who are taking our freedoms away, you know. It's like the same thing that I was saying about how every side thinks they're right, you know. Yeah, she went about it all wrong, you know. Like, she was super manipulative. Like, she was trying to use her sob story. That's why I cut her off. I was just like, save it for Oprah. Like, nobody cares. Because, like, it's so manipulative. Like, it was another way to control me. Like, trying to tell me about her freaking medical thing. I don't even know you. You think I'm going to care? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was just whack, that woman. She was whack. So, she was controlling, like, in every direction. Oh, I can't control her with aggression. Let me control her with a sob story. Like, it was the same behavior, just expressed in different ways. And that's the biggest problem I have with people these days. It's like, I don't try to control you by trying to educate you with like the facts. Please don't try to control me with stuff I already know. Like, I already know about freaking the 6 feet. I know all this stuff. Like, stop. I wasn't even in her space. She freaked out over nothing. And like, I'm tired of people thinking they have the right to walk all over you like that. It's just not okay. Like, I did what I was supposed to do in that moment, which was stand up for myself. Like, that wasn't cool, man. Like, and I'm tired of people thinking that they have that excuse. It's just not okay. Like, and I think I blame the government for that, thinking that that just because something is rules are in place that all of a sudden you have to like, I don't know, it's just the weirdest reaction. I don't know if I agree with that. I think people experience it all the same. They just do what they're told. Like, I don't see really that much differences, like from what the media does to what they're accomplishing. I feel like the media is impacting everybody the same at this point, you know, except for the people who were already conspiracy theorists to begin with, because I wasn't an open conspiracy theorist before. I was very much like, it was like a hobby, I guess you could say. It was just something that I never talked to anyone about because I didn't care to. It's nothing that I needed to express. Like I said, I wasn't someone who liked political conversations. This was just something very personal, and now that it's out in the open, I feel like sometimes I do have to say something. And I don't want to, but I feel like I do have to a lot of the time. Like for instance, yesterday, something like that was also really bothers me. That's not even really related to, it is and it's not related to. But I'm really upset about this whole like Jeffrey Epstein, like, uh, what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell, like how it really got brushed under the rug. Like no one really talked about it. Like a lot of people got into the Black Lives Matter thing, like full force, but like this thing just sort of got like glazed over big time. Like, and that thing just, that really bothers me. Like really bothers me. Like it's just because people are so concerned about numbers and stuff, like and no one ever talks about like, because the media doesn't put it out there. The media doesn't put out the numbers of like child sex trafficking and how many missing children go missing and all this stuff. Like those numbers are so outrageous, and like the fact that no one knows about that just really bothers me. Like how intentional it is crazy to me. Like another thing that also really bothers me is like all the fluoride water, like the water system and all that. Like our government just really bothers me. Like the fact that they definitely puppet a lot of things. Yeah, the controlling thing. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're more important because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like they're lying about a lot of things. I feel like they're lying about numbers. Or if they're lying about numbers, if they're hiding numbers, they're lying about it. So if they're willing to hide numbers, they might be willing to exaggerate numbers. They're also willing to, like this whole thing about his suicide and her getting arrested. There's no evidence. Like I never saw photos of her being in jail. Not jail, but like being put in jail or whatever. Like I feel like that's a lie. Like she never got arrested. And no one cares. No one's talked about it. Like no one cares. What cares is because the media is not telling anybody to care. Because they rely too much on their freaking smartphone to tell them things. I don't know. Like I was reading like recently about how like the reason why they won't open the details of Jeffrey Epstein's record to the public is because it's too much for people. Like I wonder why that's the case, or if that's even true, or whatever it is. Like these are things people should be knowing about. Like way more important than this COVID thing. Like way more important. Like it'll raise questions of like, why didn't anybody do anything? And there's so much tied into like blackmail and like important people at the top like getting away with murder basically. Like so it would create outrage, you know? Like if something as stupid as COVID is creating outrage, it's gonna create like something that actually matters. So yeah, so it's kind of nuts to me. I think that's just like for me personally, I'm not even sure why, because I've never been trafficked, but for me personally, I feel like child trafficking is probably the worst crime. Like it's worse than than murder, in my opinion. Like, I think dying is better than torture, you know? To me, that's like the worst thing in the world. Probably the worst thing in the world. Like, I think that's the thing that made me a conspiracy theorist. Like, when I started learning a lot about that and like realizing that it's super hush hush, that's kind of what ended, that's what started the snowballing into like finding other things out. Yeah. If this is happening, what else is happening? And that's when I learned about like the fluoride water, like, why would you put freaking poison in the water? Like, what's that for? Like, there's no other reason to do it except, so it's like, okay, well, if our government is willing to poison us every day, what else are they going to do? And then this whole mask thing, like, I don't think it's for your good. I think it's for something bad. Like, you can't breathe. Like, my body gives me indicators all the time. Like, if I'm hungry, if I'm tired, if I'm this. So if I'm uncomfortable with the mask and I can't breathe, that's my body once again communicating to me. Like, oh, I'm in the open air, fresh air. Like, how could this be bad for me? And then supposedly there's a disease out there that's like so bad. I don't know. Like, I feel like I fight so much with even my own logic, like, because of the narrative, you know? Fighting with people, I'm fighting with logic. Like, and it's just too much fighting going on, you know, like with everything. So I'm at war with my own body, like with the mask that I don't even agree with. Like, what, yeah, like I'm doing something just to cooperate basically, and it's hard for me to do something solely just to cooperate. That's hard for me. And when people like that like get in my face, like, then it's just like, it gets like, so overwhelming because I don't even agree with what I'm doing to begin with. Insult to injury is more like it because I'm already like self-harming myself by doing something I don't necessarily agree with, and then someone's adding insult to that by like bullying me, harassing me. It's like, I'm already trying my best as it is. Enough is enough, you know? Like, they throw your beliefs in their face, and you already know what their beliefs are because you know the news. Who don't know jack about what we're talking about. I feel like, yeah, because when people cooperate, when they know it's not right, like people like me, I'm saying, people who cooperate and they know it's not right, it is kind of sending a message that we are willing to tolerate like the intolerable. Like, it just creates more problems. So that's why I don't feel guilty about standing up for myself when shit like that happens. But like, it is exhausting. Like, why should I have to? Like, I don't know. It just drives me crazy. Like, especially when my client believes a narrative. That's even harder. It's even harder. He's the same way. He showed me, like, after that argument, he showed me a text of someone who supposedly got COVID, and then he texts him back saying, "Did you wear your mask on Friday?" Like, so he's policing people at work, you know, like. So he shows that text to me for what? For what? What is he showing me that text for? Oh, yeah, COVID's real. Check out this text.
The episode, and I'm glad you made it all the way here. Any website that I mentioned will be linked down below. Also, I have a Patreon page, which I will include episodes earlier. We're talking a few days to a day early. And if you want to sign up for membership, it'll just be a cool way to get ahead of the episodes that I'll be sharing with everyone. It'd be nice for members to join for, you know, their own contribution and their continued support, meanwhile getting the earliest possible content. Reminder again to subscribe and to ring the bell for notifications. Thank you very much.